Hey guys, Mike here. So I just cleared DSR with my static, and I'm really happy, and I just kind of want to share my experience on this. So we cleared Dragonsong Ultimate in, I would say, about 45 hours of prog. We were doing casual hours. We did 3 hours each raid session for 3 days a week planned. But in reality, we were doing it during the holiday season, so Thanksgiving and Christmas. So those weeks we obviously didn't raid. And for other various reasons, some days we could only do 2 days a week. So just because our static was extremely casual hours, our players were far from casual. Our players were very good. Some of our players cleared top already, and believe it or not, this is a clear for 8 static. So a clear for 8 static in 2024, like way off patch for DSR, is very uncommon. And the reason for that is because most people already cleared on patch or even a couple patches after. But the reason I joined this static and the reason why they didn't get their clear yet was because during their on-patch static, they had issues with some members that, that weren't consistent enough and they couldn't see future phases. So they just had to totally kick people and table the fight for down the road. So, this fight came out like 2 years ago. And, for me, I haven't been playing that long. I only started raiding in Abyssos, which is the second raid tier out of 3 for this expansion. So obviously I never cleared DSR top. I did clear Uwu a while ago, and it was pretty straightforward. It was my first taste in Ultimate, and it's definitely fun. I wanted to do more, so that's why I really wanted to do DSR, because I really like the look of the DSR weapons. I also like the look of the top weapons as well, but overall, on the whole, just like the regal orange feel of the DSR weapons is more of my preference. But I really like some of the top weapons as well. I couldn't ask for a better group. The group was amazing. The players were amazing. The vibe check was amazing. There's no drama. Everybody's just having fun. If issues arise during prog, like there's questions, people always talk it out. People are always helping each other. Like, hey, if someone is having consistency issues with a certain part of the mechanic, they'll raise the issue and people try to help them out and say, okay, this is what I do to become more consistent at this mechanic, and people actually take the advice and they apply it, and then everything just works. So I would give some advice for people who are trying to prog DSR and top as well. I would say, at least for DSR, before you find a group, definitely do phase 2 and phase 3 in Party Finder, because that's extremely cheap prog that you can get before entering a group, because the hardest phases technically are P2 and P3 from a mechanical standpoint, and P6 and P7, which are the last phases of the fight, while they are, they have their challenges, but they're not that hard. They're just more punishing because they're at the end. P6 and P7 are already at the 11-minute mark in this 18-minute fight. Once you mess up on P6 or P7, you already lost 11 minutes and you have to start from the beginning. So they're definitely more punishing. So going into PF, definitely try to get your P2 and P3 prog, and don't expect much from PF. PF is very inconsistent at mechanics, and usually there's one person lying about their prog point in the Party Finder. So how I would do it is, if you are definitely good at the game and you're very consistent, definitely join higher prog point PFs. So if the Party Finder's advertised for P2 Sanctity Cleanup, definitely join a P3 Fresh or a P3 Wormhole prog, just so you're not being trapped by PF and wasting your time so much. And like if you're trying to clean up your P3 or you're on P3 to Enrage, definitely join like a P5 Fresh prog, because P4 and Transition, the phases before P5 are generally pretty easy and they're not really recognized as particular prog points for DSR. So once you get your P2 and your P3 prog in, I would say at that point, try to find a static that's at that prog point, or even better, at around P5, like a P5 fresh prog point, because that's when, like, once you complete P5, that's the halfway point in the fight. And if you're trying out for a static, you can kind of see what their skill level is like with P2 and P3 to see if you can want to join the static. And it's also a good vibe check as well. That way you're not joining a static who's like completely starting DSR from fresh, and then there's traps in the static. Just because you join a static, it doesn't mean that they're going to be good. These are the same people that are in PF as well, but they just happen to try and form a static. The good thing about a static is that you get consistent raid days, that you can always get reliable prog in. Whereas PF, it's always hit and miss, and sometimes, like on some days, you can be waiting in PF for like 4 to 5 hours just to get a group. And it's extremely inefficient if you're trying to prog P6 and P7 in PF, because one, you're gonna have consistency issues, so you might not even see P6 and P7, and also your party might not even fill. The probability of your party filling for those later phases is gonna be even lower. So anyways, yeah, DSR was amazing. That was really fun. Our group was really good, really happy with the group. Probably do more reclears with them, just to get more weapons. And I also wanted to take this time to give an update on Monster Hunter content. So primarily this channel will be focused on Monster Hunter content, not really Final Fantasy 14. And I have so much ideas planned for Monster Hunter content. I really want to keep the channel focused on CQC tactics in Monster Hunter, not necessarily like all of the beginner and basic stuff. By the way, if you do have a question about Monster Hunter, it's a pretty basic question. All you got to do is go into Google and type your question plus Monster Hunter plus Reddit. And usually there's a Reddit article that completely answers your question. Some Giga Chad just totally typed out a very in-depth answer about your question. But if I do happen to see your comment while I'm sitting on the toilet, then yeah, I'll probably answer it if it's a quick and easy answer. So that being said, if you are a new person to Monster Hunter, I don't think my channel is really for you because, like I said, I'm not really going to be covering basic stuff, which you can easily find the answers to on Reddit or Google. I'm more infatuated with the CQC tactics and the CQC aspects of Monster Hunter because, in my opinion, I think Monster Hunter is the greatest game / greatest franchise ever made. And the whole reason my channel exists in the first place was because when I got into Monster Hunter, a lot of people weren't talking about the action aspects or the CQC tactics, which when I started playing, I realized off the bat that the developers put a lot of effort into the movement and the cost and benefit ratios of doing certain actions like sheathing, even just rotating your character around to face certain points. All of the actions in Monster Hunter are very deliberate, and I felt no one was talking about this and no one was helping people get better at weapons because all people wanted to talk about were just builds. And that's like such a surface level part of Monster Hunter. Like, no one talks about the monsters, their animations, the way they move and behave in relation to you, and how you as a hunter have to move in relation to them. And I feel that is what makes Monster Hunter the greatest game ever made, or at least the greatest player versus environment combat experience ever made. I really want to create videos that address the intermediate and advanced level topics in Monster Hunter from a combat perspective. I just wanted to thank everybody for the recent subscribers. I know I don't really ask people to subscribe or like, but I do really appreciate all of those subscribes and likes. Just want to keep making great content to make you guys better hunters as well. And I'll make some Final Fantasy content just kind of on the side as a secondary game. So look forward to that if you're into this game as well. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that video. Just a brief update. Look forward to more stuff to come. Thanks for watching.